Welcome to Mind Like Space, a quiet place where wonder breathes slowly, and your thoughts can drift like stardust. Tonight, we're exploring something timeless, or rather, time itself. From ancient trees that remember the seasons, to the edge of black holes where moments stand still. This journey is a gentle unraveling of the most mysterious force we live by. Before we begin, tell me, where in the world are you tuning in from? What time is it right now for you? Drop it in the comments. Because time, as you'll soon learn, is different for everyone. And while you're here, if this kind of calm, curious storytelling speaks to your soul, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone else who needs a little stillness in their day. Let's grow this quiet corner of the cosmos, one mindful mind at a time. Now, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let us begin. Before there were clocks, before the tick and the tack, there was only the hush, a soft unfolding of moments that had no names. You feel it now, like a breeze through tall grass, invisible, but unmistakably there. Not measured, not divided. Just lived. You take a step back, not in space, but in sense. Back into a world where time had no numbers. You are lying on the belly of the earth. The ground hums beneath you, warm and slow, like the breath of something ancient. Above, the sky stretches vast and open, a dome of quiet blue. The sun moves across it not like a clock hand, but like a slow gesture of light, graceful, effortless. This is how your ancestors knew time. Not by counting, but by noticing. The length of shadows. The bloom of certain flowers. The way a bird song returns after silence. There was a rhythm to the world, yes, but it wasn't forced. It was followed. Felt. Trusted. Your body, even now, remembers. It carries the echo of that quiet, unbroken time. You feel it in your breath. In the slow blink of your eyes when you're tired. In the way your skin seems to know when night has fallen. Even when you haven't looked outside. There is no hurry here. No seconds chasing minutes, no minutes chasing hours. Just being. Just existing in the slow and sacred now. And in this now, time is not a line. It is not even a circle. It is a cloud, a mist, something you walk through, without ever holding it in your hands. Imagine you are sitting beside a river. Its water moving without sound. There is no start to its flow, no end. Only movement, gentle and full. You don't measure the river. You watch it. You let it pass, and in passing, you understand something deeper than numbers. You understand presence. Time, in this place, is not separate from you. It is the rhythm of your footfall. The slow turning of your head. The way your heartbeat grows quiet as the stars come out. It is not something outside to be controlled. It is something inside, always arriving. There was a time, before the tools. Before the gears and springs and glowing digits. When the earth itself was the only clock you needed. Sunrise. Sunset. The cool breath of autumn creeping through the trees. The returning moon. You picture an ancient sky watcher. A figure wrapped in fur and patience. Looking up at the stars, not to measure them, but to wonder. To listen. Because back then, time whispered. And if you were quiet enough, you could hear it. Time, then, was not measured in units. It was lived in stories. A harvest moon meant the crops were ready. A long shadow meant evening songs would begin. The story of a life was not told in years, but in how the wind changed when a child was born, or the silence after a loved one passed. Each event marked the fabric of memory. Like knots in a string, not evenly spaced, but meaningfully placed. And slowly, gently, humans began to carve these stories into stone and wood. Sundials. Stone circles aligned with the solstice. Marks on bones, perhaps counting moons. We did not create time. We sculpted our attention to it. Even today, if you close your eyes, you can feel the trace of that old awareness. The part of you that doesn't check a watch, but senses when a moment has come. You may have forgotten how to listen, but your body has not. In the silence before clocks, there was only rhythm. The sway of seasons, the beat of wings, the softness of light changing ever so slightly on the horizon. A rhythm not imposed, but discovered, lived in, and maybe, just maybe, that version of time, that unmeasured, unfolding presence, is not lost. Perhaps it is only waiting for you to notice it again. You lie back now, eyes closed, as the warmth of the earth seeps into your skin. You breathe slowly. The air tastes still. There is nothing to catch, nothing to chase, only this. In this stillness, you feel something shift. A quiet tug inside your chest. The awareness that time is not just passing around you. And so you ask, if your body already knows time, then what else might it be keeping track of? What silent, inner clock ticks beneath your skin? What does your body know about time? You may not carry a clock in your hand right now, but you carry many inside you. Silent, precise, persistent. Your body knows when to wake, when to eat, when to sleep, when to grow. It knows the seasons, the hours, the pulse of your days. Even when you forget to look at a watch. Your breath is the first rhythm. Inhale, exhale. A wave returning to the shore. A swing moving through the air. With every breath, time moves within you. Not measured by machines, but by sensation. Then comes the heart. A quiet drummer tucked in your chest. It marks time with a beat soft as footsteps in snow. Faster when you're in love. Slower when you're at rest. Each pulse a moment lived. Each beat a reminder, you are here, you are alive. And beneath all of this, deeper still, there is a master clock. Not one you can see or touch, but one that keeps you in rhythm with the turning earth. It lives in your brain, in a tiny bundle of cells called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. But you don't need to remember the name. Just know that it listens. It listens to the light, to the coming and going of day, to the sun rising on your closed eyelids, and the darkness settling around your dreams. This inner clock follows a pattern, about 24 hours long. It tells your body when to release melatonin, the sleep signal. It slows your systems when night falls, gently draping rest over your thoughts like a soft blanket. It warms you in the morning, raises your blood pressure, makes you alert by day, and drowsy by dusk. This is your circadian rhythm. From the Latin circa diem, about a day. A loop, not a straight line. A gentle swing through light and shadow. Your body doesn't just exist in time. It is shaped by it. Even your cells keep time. Each one operates with tiny gears and cycles, turning on genes at certain moments, switching off others. Like little musicians in an orchestra, they know when to play their part. And as you age, your body keeps the score. Bones grow longer, then harder. Skin stretches, then softens. Hair lightens with time like frost on a field. These are not failures. They are signatures. Proof that time has passed through you. Time leaves a fingerprint in your DNA. Each day, little caps on your chromosomes, called telomeres, shorten. Not in a hurry, just slowly, gently. Like candles burning low. When they grow too short, Cells can no longer divide. This is aging. Not a falling apart, but a slowing down. Still, the body is not a slave to time. It dances with it. Even your memories, the very core of your identity, are shaped by time's movement through your senses. When you feel joy, time seems to fly. When you're anxious or in pain, every moment stretches. Why? Because your perception of time is not always aligned with the outside world. It is filtered through feelings, slowed or sped by attention. Your body marks time not just by clocks, but by meaning. Think of a child waiting for a birthday, a lover waiting for a letter, a traveler waiting for dawn. In these moments, time expands. The minutes become heavy. This isn't an error. It's an echo of your body's deep intelligence. Its ability to prioritize, to prepare, to be fully present. And presence is the purest form of time. Not the kind counted by devices, but the kind you feel. The kind that lives in your hands. When you hold someone you love. In your skin. When the wind shifts seasons. In your silence. When a memory returns. Your body is not a prisoner of time. It is its partner. It moves in rhythm with the sky. It slows when the day cools. It warms when the sun touches your face. You are a clock made of breath, of blood, of light and memory. And when your rhythms fall out of sync, when you stay awake through nights, when your screens glow longer than the stars, your body whispers, "I'm tired. I've lost my place." Because even in this world of artificial light and restless nights, your body longs to return to the rhythm of the earth. So tonight, as you prepare to sleep, you are not shutting down. You are stepping back into rhythm, into harmony. You close your eyes, and your body begins its gentle descent. Temperature cooling, breathing slowing, thoughts softening at the edges. Your cells know this pattern. They've done it thousands of times. You are entering a sacred passage, a night of restoration, of dreaming, of time rearranging itself, in the quiet of your mind. And yet, even in sleep, you are not lost to time. You are traveling through it. Which raises a strange and beautiful question. If time is felt in sleep, what happens to time? Inside dreams? What kind of time lives in your sleeping mind? That is where we go next. You've likely felt it before. The way moments slip from your hands, never to be held again. A laugh that fades. A sunset that darkens. A goodbye that echoes only in memory. Time, it seems, has only one direction. Forward. But why? Why can't we return to yesterday's embrace? To last week's breath? To the softness of a vanished hour? Tonight, you float gently into the mystery of why time moves the way it does. Why it flows. Why it doesn't rewind. Scientists call it the arrow of time. A poetic phrase for something deeply mathematical. It means that time moves in one direction only, just as an arrow flies from bow to sky. The cause of this arrow is not clocks, not the way we measure hours or label days. No. The arrow of time is carved into the universe itself, etched into its fabric, by the laws of thermodynamics. Let's take a quiet walk through those laws. Imagine a cup of tea, freshly poured, steam curling upward, soft and ghostly. You wait, and the tea cools. It loses heat, until it settles into stillness. But now ask yourself, have you ever seen that process in reverse? Have you seen a cold cup suddenly grow warm? Its steam rising back in? No. Not because it's impossible in theory, but because it's unbelievably unlikely. And that's where entropy comes in. Entropy is a quiet idea with deep power. It is the tendency for things to go from order to disorder, from neat to messy, from simple to complex. A sandcastle crumbles. A room gathers dust. The ice in your drink melts. All these changes are guided by entropy. Not because they must, but because, statistically, disorder is the most likely outcome. There are just more ways for things to fall apart than for them to stay perfectly arranged. In the language of physics, the past is the place of low entropy. Tidy, ordered, constrained. The future is the land of higher entropy. Messy, expanded, relaxed. And between the two, time flows. From low to high. From simple to complex. From then to now. Entropy doesn't just explain why tea cools. It explains why you remember the past, but not the future. Why you grow older, but never younger. Why the stars burn through their fuel and never refill. You are made of billions of particles, and they too obey this quiet rule. Drifting, spreading, unfolding toward disorder. And yet, within this drift, your life finds meaning. Because time's flow gives your moments weight. A memory means something, because it cannot be relived. A kiss, a breath, a choice. Each is precious, because it cannot be undone. In this way, entropy is not your enemy. It is the gentle force that turns moments into memories, that turns youth into wisdom, that turns the present into a path you have walked. And though time moves forward, you are not swept away by it. You walk with it. You shape it. You carry pieces of the past with you. In your skin. Your smile. Your story. Still, the universe itself remembers. Every change, every stir. Every particle moving one way instead of another. It all adds to the great unfolding. The great expansion. You float now, through a quiet landscape of thought. Stars are born. Stars die. Galaxies collide. And time, like a tide, carries everything forward. Even black holes, those mysterious wells in space, whisper about time. They warp it, bend it, stretch it until seconds feel like centuries. And yet, even there, time does not go backward. You lie still, feeling the soft weight of your own body, your own breath, your own now. You are a traveler, moving on the arrow of time, never returning to where you began, but never truly leaving it behind either. Because memory is the echo that lives on. You begin to wonder, if entropy guides the arrow of time, what would it mean if you could step outside that arrow? What if time is not a straight line at all, but a tapestry, woven, not walked? Could there be a place where time behaves differently? A place where the rules soften, and the arrow curls back into itself? Where does time bend? Where does it slow? That, dear listener, is where you drift next, on the back of light itself. Close your eyes and imagine this. You are no longer bound by feet or flesh. You are weightless, timeless, a traveler made of light. You become a photon, a single packet of sunlight, just released from the surface of a star. You leap outward, through the darkness of space. And in this instant, this exact instant, something strange happens. Time stops. For you, moving at the speed of light. There is no past, no future, no journey. The beginning and the end of your path collapse into a single flash of now. This is not imagination. This is physics. And it's here, in this delicate paradox, that you begin to understand just how flexible, how strange, time truly is. At the heart of this mystery is Albert Einstein and his theory of relativity. He discovered something breathtaking: that time is not absolute, not fixed, not universal. Instead, time is more like taffy. It stretches, bends, and folds, depending on how fast you're moving, or how close you are to something massive. This idea is called time dilation. Let it rest gently on your mind. Imagine two twins. One stays on Earth. The other boards a spaceship and flies near the speed of light for what feels like a year. When the traveling twin returns, they are younger than the one who stayed, because for them, time passed more slowly. Their body experienced fewer moments. Speed, it turns out, slows time down. Now imagine you're near a massive planet, or hovering close to a black hole. The deeper you are in gravity's pull, the slower time ticks. Clocks actually run more slowly on the surface of Earth than they do high up in space. We've measured it. Even the GPS in your phone needs to adjust for this tiny stretch of time, or else your maps would be wrong. What does this mean for you? It means time is personal, not just emotionally, but physically. Your time, moving through your body, in your place, is not the same as someone else's. Somewhere else. There is no single now for the entire universe. No cosmic metronome keeping everything in step. Instead, the universe is full of private clocks, each ticking according to its motion, its mass, its place in the gravity of things. And so, the speed of light becomes a kind of boundary, a speed no object with mass can reach. But the very shape of time and space is defined by how close things get to it. You, as a photon, are outside of time. But as a person, you are woven within it, moving slowly through its folds, noticing how it stretches in grief or contracts in joy. This flexibility isn't chaos, it's elegance. The universe does not malfunction. When time shifts, it dances. And you, even in sleep, are part of that rhythm. Your dreams feel long, but happen in seconds. A nap changes your sense of the day. Time is not a fixed current. It's a sea. And you are a small boat, riding its ever-changing waves. When astronauts go to space, they return slightly younger than their counterparts on Earth, only by fractions of seconds. But the difference is real. Time is not only what we feel, but what we become. You drift now, gently, in the soft glow of this idea. You are floating near a black hole, where time nearly stops at the edge. To an outside observer, you appear frozen. To you, moments still pass. But so slowly the world around you rushes forward like a dream. In these extreme places, the rules of time begin to blur. And it raises an even stranger possibility. If time can slow, could it ever reverse? Could it loop? Could it stop completely? Could there be regions of the universe where time is simply missing? That's the next step. But before we go there, pause in this wonder. Your world feels ordinary. A ticking clock, a turning page. But beneath that comfort is a truth vast and shimmering. Time is not a constant stream, but a web of possibility. And you, in your breath, your movement, your stillness, are part of its shape. You blink, and your tiny universe ticks forward once more. But tonight, As you drift into sleep, remember the photon. Remember that time can be bent. That now is not the same everywhere. And that may be deep inside your dreaming mind. You've already felt a different kind of time. A time with no clocks. A time made of thought. A time where hours are made of memory. Where are you when you dream? And what kind of time? Do dreams obey? That question waits for you in the next chapter. You felt it. That strange elasticity. How some moments feel like forever. A restless night. A difficult conversation. A single waiting second before news arrives. And then, at other times, hours seem to vanish. You blink, and an entire afternoon is gone. A good book, a warm bath, a laugh with someone you love, gone in what feels like a breath. This isn't just mood. It isn't illusion. It's your brain's way of living in time. Because the time on the clock isn't always the same as the time in your mind. You are not a machine. You are not a stopwatch. You are a storyteller. And time, to your mind, is the story being told. Let's begin at the core. Your brain doesn't have a single clock. Instead, it has many specialized regions that measure different scales of time. Some track milliseconds, needed to play a song or speak a word. Others stretch across hours, days, years. One of these areas is the basal ganglia, deep in your brain, helping you measure short, rhythmic time, like when you tap your foot to music, or wait 3 seconds before responding. Another, the cerebellum, guides your timing for movement. When to blink, when to catch, when to speak without stumbling. And still deeper, your prefrontal cortex, the part behind your forehead, makes more complex decisions about time and memory. This is where long-timed lives, where planning, patience, and pacing are made. But none of these clocks measure time like a stopwatch. They measure it through experience. When you're afraid, your brain enters a heightened state. More signals, more alerts, more impressions packed into each second. And so, time feels slower. This is why a car accident, a fall, a sudden scare, can feel stretched, as if the world paused. Just for you. Your brain is capturing more. And when you recall it, you remember a dense memory, and assume it took longer. This effect is called time dilation by perception. And it's just one example of how your experience reshapes the clock. There's another side, too. The feeling of losing time. It happens when you're deeply focused, completely immersed. Psychologists call it flow state. When your brain stops checking the clock, because it's too busy being. Painters, musicians, runners, lovers, they all feel this. You felt this. That moment where you are so present, so involved. That time no longer passes. It just is. But what about dreams? Dreams. You lie in bed for 10 minutes and dream an entire lifetime. In dreams, your sense of time is disconnected from external reality. Because while you sleep, the parts of your brain that measure linear time quiet down. They let go. Your dreams are not bound by the arrow. They bend time freely. A scene may last seconds or years, and your brain accepts it. Because dreaming isn't about logic. It's about meaning. And meaning changes time. Think of a memory. One that matters. Your wedding. Your childhood room. The birth of your child. The last conversation with someone who's gone. Now, notice how clearly you recall that moment. The way the light hit the floor. The exact tone of their voice. Time, in these memories, feels thick. Suspended. Because the brain gives more space to moments that carry weight. Your memories are not stored in lines. They are stored in scenes. In snapshots. Connected not by seconds, but by feeling. And so, time in your mind is not a river. It's a constellation. Moments hanging together. Not in order, but in brightness. And your body agrees. It feels time. Not just in days and nights, but in rhythms of hormones. Cycles of rest. Shifts in hunger and warmth. You do not simply pass through time. You weave it. With each decision, each memory, each dream, you shape the story of how time is felt. So tonight, as you close your eyes, you are not escaping time. You are returning to your own version of it. Quiet, drifting, gentler than numbers can describe. And in your dreams, you may walk backwards. You may pause a kiss. You may live 100 days. In the time it takes a leaf to fall. And in that place, you may begin to wonder, if your mind can shape time, what about the rest of nature? Do animals, plants, oceans carry time too? Do trees remember? Can the earth itself keep time without a clock? Let's follow the roots next, and listen to the oldest clocks of all. You step softly now, into a green world, where no bells ring, no clocks tick, no alarms go off, and yet time moves with deep precision. The forest is still, but it is not idle. Every leaf, every root, every bird in its nest is following a rhythm older than language. Welcome to the realm of nature's time. No calendars hang from branches. No plants wear watches. But they know when to rise, when to bloom, when to sleep. And they have always known. Start with the trees. You touch the bark of an old one. Broad, knotted, rough with memory. Inside, hidden from view, are rings? Concentric circles of growth. One for each year it has lived. These rings hold secrets. Wet years, dry years. Sudden freezes, generous springs. A tree is a historian. Its body a slow, silent journal of time. But it doesn't just record. It anticipates. Long before winter arrives, trees begin preparing. Drawing sugars deep into their roots. Shedding leaves not out of fatigue, but wisdom. They are reading the signs. Shorter days, colder nights. Subtle shifts in sunlight. This awareness is called photoperiodism. The ability to measure day length. It's how plants know when to flower. Even without seeing a clock. They don't see time. They feel it. In the changing angle of the sun. In the warmth of the soil. In the slow return of bees. And it's not just plants. Birds migrate thousands of miles. Guided not by maps, but by internal calendars. Written in genes and light. A robin doesn't wait for the news to say, spring has begun. It simply knows. Because its blood carries a calendar. Older than cities. Turtles hatch at night. Guided by moonlight. Bears retreat to caves. Not because of temperature alone, but because their bodies are synced to the Earth's invisible pulse. There's even evidence that coral, those stony flowers of the sea, release their eggs on the exact same night each year. Across vast oceans, timed with the full moon. You too have it. You've only dulled it with alarms, screens, flashing digits. But once, you rose with the sun. You slept when darkness fell. You ate when you were hungry, not when the schedule allowed. This kind of time still lives within you. That's why you feel more awake on certain days. Why your hunger shifts with the seasons. Why jet lag feels so unnatural. Because your body wants to return to the tempo of trees. Pause here. Breathe in the scent of earth, the sound of wind threading through pine. Look at the moss, growing only on one side of the tree. A quiet compass. Notice the fungi, appearing when the ground is just damp enough. Watch the squirrels, gathering before the cold arrives. There are no clocks here, but time is everywhere. Even the ocean remembers. Its tides move in rhythm with the moon, rising and falling like breath. Some fish time their migration with the lunar cycle, their bodies adjusting to moonlight on the water's skin. In nature, time is a conversation between moon and tide, between root and rain, between body and sun. And this conversation is ancient. Before humans carved hours into stone, before we divided days into measured pieces, the earth already spun, tilted, wobbled, in cycles of time. So vast, so slow, that even mountains rise and fall like sighs. You are part of this. Your ancestors followed it. They planted by the moon. They watched the stars to know when the rains would come. And deep inside you, that instinct lingers, a faint tug in your chest when autumn nears, a restlessness in spring, a craving for warmth in winter's deep. You are not separate from this world. You are its echo. Tonight, as you lie in stillness, you are sinking. Your breath slows, like tide pulling back. Your blood cools, like soil waiting for rain. You are not winding down. You are turning inward, as trees do, as birds do, as all things do. When they rest, let go, for now, of the clocks, the minutes, the schedules. Sink into a slower kind of time, the kind that whispers, not ticks, that pulses beneath your skin, like sap rising. And as your body listens, a question rises with you. If time exists in rhythms, not numbers, then who first carved it into pieces? When did we begin dividing the sky into hours and hands? To understand that, we must follow time, from forest to sundial, and that journey awaits you in the next chapter. Time was once a presence. Now it's a number. But before it was counted, it was only felt. In the way shadows stretched, in the hunger that came with dusk, in the moon's quiet fullness. Long ago, before watches wound tight against wrists, before digital digits blinked on bedside tables, humans looked upward. We marked the sky before we marked paper. And in that sky, we began to notice rhythm. The sun rose in a slightly different place each morning. And so we watched. We followed its arc. We tracked the shadows it cast. And those shadows, slim at noon, long at dusk, became our first clocks. Enter the sundial. A stick in the ground. A circle of etched hours. It told you nothing in the dark. But in daylight, it sang softly of passing time. It told stories in shade. Soon after came water clocks. Bowls with small holes that dripped, measuring time through disappearance. As the water fell, the future approached. As it emptied, a moment had passed. Then sand was chosen, slipping grains inside glass bulbs. The hourglass, a reminder that time, once fallen, cannot be returned. Each of these inventions was a mirror, not of time itself, but of our growing desire to hold it, to see it, to measure what could never be touched. And with each step, time grew more mechanical. By the 14th century, we were building tower clocks, huge machines with weights and wheels, not yet perfectly precise, but enough to strike bells on the hour. We made time loud. We turned moments into chimes. We began to schedule. And in doing so, something shifted. We stopped listening to the sun. We began listening to the bell. Later came the pendulum, swinging with elegance, steady as breath. Invented by Christian Huygens in the 1600s. It made clocks more accurate, time more exact. The swing of each pendulum measured a second. A new invention, that word, second. A sliver of time, small enough to divide. We began to count. Not just hours, but fractions of hours. We made watches. We wore time on our bodies. We created railroads. And with them, timetables. Suddenly, being a few minutes early or late meant something. We made time zones, dividing the world into slices, so trains wouldn't collide. Time was no longer personal. It was global. And then, in the 20th century, we found time in the vibration of atoms. We built atomic clocks, which count the oscillations of cesium atoms. Nearly 9 billion vibrations per second, ticking with incredible precision. So precise that, if it ran for millions of years, it would lose only a second. And this is how we define time now. Not by sun, or sand, or bells, but by particles, dancing in unseen rhythms. This accuracy powers satellites, phones, financial systems, global positioning. Time is the invisible thread that ties everything together. But in all this control, have we forgotten something? We've tamed time. Yes. But at what cost? We live by alarms. We rush to deadlines. We fill calendars with color-coded urgency. We count hours worked, not moments lived. Time, once sacred, has become a resource, a currency, a weight on our shoulders. And yet, we long for timelessness. That feeling, on a walk through the woods, when you forget to check your phone, that quiet after laughter, when you lose track of the hour, that moment in conversation, when light changes, and you don't notice, because you are present. These are not lost. They are simply hidden beneath the scaffolding of our systems. Remember, we invented the clock. We invented the schedule. We built the borders of minutes and hours. And what is built can be softened. You are not a machine. You do not tick. You do not need to produce every second. You can pause. You can breathe in the old rhythms that still live in your bones. The way time once passed. In shadows. In bloom. In silence. You lie now in the hush. Between ticking. You rest in the breath. Before the next bell. The invention of timekeeping was our way of trying to understand life. But maybe life is not meant to be kept. Maybe it is meant to be noticed. And as you begin to drift, A thought rests gently on your chest. If time is different in motion, and different in dreams, and different in nature, and different in memory, then what happens to time? In places that stretch far beyond Earth? What is time? In the deepest parts of space? What is time? Where stars are born, or where they vanish? That journey waits in the next chapter. Imagine you're floating, far above the noise of Earth. No ticking clocks, no rising sun, only stars scattered like dust, and the deep, humming quiet of space. Out here, time is still time, but it behaves differently. Look down at Earth, a soft marble of blue and green. There, a minute feels like a minute. A day feels like a day. But as you drift farther from gravity's pull, your minutes stretch, your clock slows, compared to those below. Einstein taught us this. Time and space are not separate. They are stitched together in a four-dimensional fabric called spacetime. And where there is mass, a planet, a star, even you, that fabric bends. Think of a trampoline. Place a bowling ball in the center. The fabric sags, curves, pulls. Now roll a marble nearby. It spirals inward. This is how gravity works. Mass warps space, and that warping affects time. Near something massive, like a planet or a star, time runs more slowly than it does far away in deep space. This is called gravitational time dilation. Astronauts in orbit experience this difference. Just a few microseconds each day, but measurable, and near something truly massive, like a black hole, the effect becomes extreme. Approach the edge of a black hole, the event horizon, and time begins to crawl. To an outside observer, you would appear to freeze. You'll fall suspended forever. But to you, time still feels normal. You move, you breathe, you fall. It's just that the rest of the universe is speeding by. Centuries, millennia, in the blink of your own eye. This is not fiction. This is physics. Now let your thoughts drift farther still. Beyond the black holes. Beyond even the galaxies. Into the space between. And for now, you float in a cosmos. Still alive with motion. Still full of clocks. Spinning planets. Orbiting moons. Pulsing quasars that blink with perfect timing. Some of these pulses, radio waves from dead stars, are so steady, they outpace our best clocks. Even in death, the stars keep time. So what does this mean for you? It means you are a part of something vast, and slow, and sacred. Time is not a narrow hallway. It is a cathedral. It arches around you. It echoes. And here, in this silence, you begin to feel how even your smallest moments are connected to something ancient. When you blink, the stars still shine. When you sleep, the universe expands. When you dream, light from a dead star may pass through your bedroom window. And so you wonder, if time is this immense, this curved and stretched, could it ever loop? Could you return? Could the future touch the past? Could all of time exist at once? Not as a line, but a spiral? That is the riddle, waiting in the next chapter. This place is not empty. It's full of dark matter, dark energy, and time that stretches so thin, it's almost silent. Here, the cosmic clock ticks slowly, Because the universe is expanding. Every second, space itself grows, carrying galaxies away from one another, like raisins in rising bread. The farther away a galaxy is, the faster it moves, and the light it sends us is stretched, its waves lengthened, by the fabric of space expanding. This stretching is called redshift, and it tells us something profound. Light from the early universe has aged on its journey to reach us. We are seeing ancient starlight from stars that may no longer exist. But their light, their time, is still arriving. This light is a message from the past. When you gaze at the stars, you are not looking at now. You are looking into history. The moon? 1 second ago. The sun? 8 minutes ago. The nearest star? For years ago. The farthest galaxies? Over 13 billion years in the past. Time is distance. Distance is time. And this means the night sky is not just above you. It is behind you. You are floating through light that began its journey long before your body existed, before Earth cooled, before your ancestors breathed. And so, the universe itself is a clock. Not a ticking one, but a spreading one. We measure its age, not by years, but by how far its light has traveled. Roughly 13.8 billion years. That's how long this great unfolding has been happening. But here's something even stranger. We don't know if time has always moved at the same pace. Some theories suggest that in the earliest moments after the Big Bang, time inflated, rushing outward in a burst too fast to imagine, then slowing into the gentle rhythm we know today. Others suggest that far into the future, as the universe cools and spreads, time may lose meaning. Everything may drift so far apart that nothing changes anymore. No stars, no light, no clocks, only silence. You've thought of time as a river, always flowing forward, never returning to its source. But now, let's imagine something softer, stranger. What if time is not a river at all? What if time is a spiral? A spiral doesn't end. It turns. It curves around itself. Each point, each loop, touches the next. But also, somehow, the past. You're not the first to imagine this. Physicists have long puzzled over whether time, as we know it, is truly linear. Enter the idea of block time, also called eternalism. In this view, past, present, and future are all equally real. They all exist together, right now, like rooms in a vast house. You move through these rooms, one at a time, but all the rooms are there, waiting. Your birth is still happening, somewhere in this block. So is your first laugh, your first grief, your next breath. This doesn't mean you can visit them, only that they are not gone. Not truly. It's not that the past disappears. It's that your position in time moves, just like your position in space. When you walk from one street to another, the first street doesn't vanish. It remains. You have simply left it. In the same way, you leave behind moments, but they may still exist, folded gently into the fabric of space-time. Think about a movie reel. Each frame exists, even if you're only watching one. The reel is the block universe. Your consciousness is the projector, moving frame by frame, creating the illusion of flow. And yet, all the frames are there. Now breathe. Let that sink in. Every time you smiled, still there. Every time you hurt, still there. Not haunting, but suspended. Held like stars inside amber. Some even speculate that your consciousness is not tied to a single flow of time. In deep sleep, in trance, in déjà vu, in sudden memories that arrive uninvited, you may be brushing against frames not currently playing. And then there are closed time-like curves, predicted by Einstein's own equations. These are paths in space-time that loop back on themselves, suggesting the possibility, however theoretical, of time loops. Could the universe fold in such a way that the future leads back to the past? We don't know, but the math allows it. And in quantum physics, things become even stranger. Particles can become entangled, linked across time and space. Measure one here, and the other, far away, reacts instantly. It's as if they share time, or exist outside of it. Time, at the quantum level, may not flow at all. It may flicker, vibrate, exist only in relation to change. This means time might not be something that is, but something that happens when something else changes. You are beginning to see that time is not fixed, not solid. It may be a shadow of something deeper. And this is where thought softens, where science blends with wonder, where language begins to hum quietly, as your mind loosens its grip on definition. What if you are not walking through time, but are a ripple in it? What if your every breath sends gentle waves through the entire spiral? What if memory is not just recall, but a form of travel? In dreams, you return to places you've never seen. In meditation, time sometimes vanishes. In grief, a single moment plays again and again, as if it's still present. And maybe it is. Maybe that moment sits on the spiral, just behind this one, still echoing softly. We cannot prove this, but we can feel it. The past clings, the future whispers, and the present, this delicate edge, is where you balance. Now you are drifting beyond the spiral, beyond the ticking, beyond even the bending of space-time. You have floated through clocks made of stars, memories stored in rings, the silent rhythm of coral, the stretching of light across galaxies. And now, you are leaving time behind. But how? Is there truly something beyond time? To ask that question, we must return to the beginning of everything. The Big Bang. Not an explosion in space, but the birth of space itself. And time too. Before that instant, 13.8 billion years ago, there was no before, no ticking, no waiting, no when. Time began with the universe. This is perhaps the hardest idea the human mind can hold, because we are so used to time being a backdrop, like a stage upon which the universe dances. But physics tells us the stage was built with the dance. Time is not eternal. It is emergent. It came into being. Imagine a balloon. Before it's inflated, there is no inside. Only the potential for space. But once it expands, space appears. And with it, movement, direction, distance. Now imagine that same balloon, holding not just space, but time. Time began when the first atoms did, when matter cooled, when light began to travel, when something could change. And here's where mystery grows wide. If time is part of the universe, what lies outside the balloon? Our physics falls quiet at the edges. We have no language for a place without before or after. We are creatures of sequence, of one thing then another. But still we wonder. Some scientists propose that there may be multiverse, countless other bubbles, each with their own timelines, their own laws, their own beginnings. Others imagine a quantum realm, where time is replaced by pure potential, where everything exists in superposition, all states, all possibilities, waiting to be observed. And some theories suggest that time, like temperature, is not fundamental, but rises from deeper truths. All moments, all choices, all love, all loss, not separated by years, but gathered in a single, silent presence. This is not physics now. It is wonder, a soft resting place for questions too large to hold with certainty. And maybe that's the answer. Maybe what lies beyond time is not meant to be understood, but simply honored. The way we honor sleep, the way we honor silence, the way we lie down and let go of needing to know, because you are already timeless in ways you don't always see. You have held a newborn and glimpsed eternity in their eyes. You have stood in awe beneath stars and felt both ancient and new. You have closed your eyes in grief or in joy and lost all sense of the clock. In those moments, you were not late. You were not early. You were just here, now. And so, as this story slows, as your breath deepens, as your thoughts begin to fade into the soft quiet of sleep, you arrive at the edge of time, not with answers, but with peace. Because perhaps time was never meant to be solved, only softened. Perhaps the universe does not care how many minutes pass, only that you noticed, that you paused, that you wondered, that you felt something move within you. As stars moved above you, time flows, but you remain. And in this stillness, you are not behind. You are not ahead. You are simply, exactly, where you're meant to be. Here. Now. Timeless.